everyone. First, I'd like to thank you for attending this session. I appreciate everyone who's busy with work. This is a great opportunity for us to share our idea of the coffee morning and afternoon teas we have in the Finance Department at Bradford District Care Foundation Trust. Some of you may know me, and for those that don't, I'm Sarah Dickinson. I've worked at the Care Trust for over 16 years, and I'm the Wellbeing Champion for the Finance Department. I take great care in looking after others, after the well-being of others, and understand how important this is for the team. Maintaining well-being and having sessions like this helps build morale, improve motivation, share skills, as well as encouraging networking across the team. These factors help form great working relationships and can often form friendships outside the finance team. Since the pandemic, the world of the NHS finance has changed somewhat. Many of us now are working at home on an agile basis. This can seem lonely, remote, and you sometimes feel isolated compared to the old ways of working a 5-day week in a busy office environment, where you would have regular face-to-face contact with your work colleagues. These sessions we have help close this gap. They help you pick up someone's body language, mood, gauge how they're feeling, so they've been really valuable asset to our finance team. My concern with this new way of working is how do we form better working relationships? Is there a way to replace corridor chats, kitchen discussions? Are we missing an opportunity for the office banter? How do we pick this up in the remote world of work? I wanted to bring back things that made us happy in the working day. What makes us laugh, smile? Is there anything that could be done in the working week to help distract us from the day-to-day stresses of work, other than the delightful spreadsheets that we also love? This is where we came up with the informal coffee mornings, afternoon tea meetings. So the purpose of these meetings, obviously looking at well-being and looking after others, build team morale, help new team members fit into the department. It's a way to get to know each other through networking, building relationships, improve motivation and form great friendships. New ways of working, it's very isolating and you're often lonely when working at home. How do we replace the corridor chats and office banter? So we have 2 15-minute sessions each week where everyone in the finance team can attend and have a break from work. They are currently held over Microsoft Teams and enable us to have a chat amongst ourselves. Again, as mentioned, the corridor chats, these replace those, and it's often a safe, open space to have open conversation. And we do plan on doing a face-to-face one in the coming months. Some of the topics we've covered this last year and ideas for you to, if you decide to have these coffee mornings, afternoon teas, just some ideas we've done. So we've done scavenger hunts. We have done the walking challenge, often known as March Through March. Some of you may be aware of this, where the finance teams from various trusts come together, submit how many steps they do through March, which is a busy month leading up to the year end, and we have a bit of competition. We also look at celebrations, birthdays, religious celebrations throughout the year. And we also talk about savings and discounts, such as the company shop, blue light card, and there's the health service discounts. The next slide shows holiday snaps, so it just gives you a bit of an idea as to what our sessions look like. Been really useful. One member of the department's been to Zimbabwe and Malawi, so they've shared their holiday snaps with us. One problem we did experience was that everyone doesn't like to put their camera on. Therefore, emphasise how hard it would be to pick up on someone's body language. It's hard to get an understanding how somebody's feeling, both physically and mentally. We've also devised some rules for people to follow and ensure it's a safe and comfortable environment where everyone has an opportunity to talk. I will pick these rules up later in the presentation. Frequency. We talked about how long, how frequent these sessions should be, what's the best time. This is part of an ongoing review and are flexible with work demands, deadlines such as month end and year end reporting process. Like I mentioned previously, we have 2 15-minute sessions each week. One solution for this was to have set times, set days, so that everyone knows these happen, so they can make time to attend these sessions. Another problem we did experience was low attendance to start with, which has improved. Part of the review and discussions we have was the topics. We now have part of the discussions, so we have got better attendance with regards to that. As time's moved on, we've decided to form a working group that consists of a few people in the finance team. This group enables the sessions to be booked by the group, and they can take it in turns to book future sessions, so it doesn't solely fall onto one person. These groups help with cross-cover and consistency, as the meetings will be scheduled on a regular basis, and will continue if someone's on leave. Having different people being involved helps generate new ideas, provide variation. They may pick things up that others may not see. And again, it's another way to form and build relationships in the team. As mentioned, cross-cover, consistency, the team involvement in sharing ideas. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, we have devised some rules that have been shared so that everyone is aware of expectations. These get reviewed by regular attendees to ensure that they remain fit for purpose. So, first rule is to ensure your camera's on. Be 100% present. Please don't read emails or do any work. Please refrain from talking about work. Be mindful of others on the call. It's great for observations. The key here is to get a vibe on how the team are feeling. For example, if someone seems quiet and are normally outgoing, it may be worth checking in on them after the meeting, or you could mention it to the Wellbeing champion. You don't have to attend the full 15 minutes. Any attendance is welcome. Some members of staff come for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Any contributions, great. And then future topics are also considered. We follow confidentiality at all times. What gets discussed remains in the meeting. And over to Gary now to talk about personal views from finance staff about these sessions. Over to you, Gary.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Morning, everyone. The reason I'm attending this presentation is that I've worked at this trust for 13 years now, so I think I can take an overview of the changes in working patterns during that time. So I want to share some of my personal observations as well with you. And indicate how this relatively simple approach to coffee mornings can help with staff well-being. So pre-COVID, we were an organisation that worked permanently in the office. I never worked at home at all. We moved almost overnight to becoming permanent home workers. And we're going through a process of losing all our dedicated finance office space. So that's the way forward, I guess, in this trust now. And as a result of that, I think it's true to say that some of the social interaction that we once had has been lost. We don't really socialise. We used to have nights out. We've lost the Christmas. We used to go on Christmas events. We've kind of lost out on those. So just a few observations then from my point of view. I think potentially the more mature workers amongst us are probably happier than some of the younger new starters. I do feel that some of the new starters are missing out, particularly on friendship opportunities. It's quite different to pre-COVID times when you started work and made friendships easily at work, and makes the current way of working makes that more difficult. I think the other issue is that new starters find it hard to understand the organisation and learn and develop. It's whenever you go to a new trust in the NHS, they're such big organisations that it can often take 6 months just to understand who everyone is and what they do. And we've slowed that process right down, I think. And I think these are events, the coffee and tea events, are a good way of addressing some of the isolation, improving knowledge and ultimately improving well-being of some of the members of staff. Let me give you a quick example. We've in the last few months, we had a new starter, young new starter, and we picked up from the coffee, one of the coffee mornings, a change in mood, and we kind of have arranged a bit of mentoring. She's studying accountancy, ACCA, so we arranged with a qualified member of staff to get in touch with her, and yeah, it's just those little things I think that help. So that's my view on this. I'll pass you over to Shireen now. Sorry, to Alina. I'll give you another view.
Thanks, Gary. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Elena Jennings. Yeah. So shall I start that we have recently asked to complete an NHS staff survey, and one of the questions was, are you looking forward to go to work? So I remember times when I used to put completely agree, but this time I stopped and reflected on my answer that I was planning to give. My job hasn't really changed, maybe slightly. There might be a few challenges since COVID started, but what has actually changed is our interaction with other people. We don't go to work, we don't walk or drive or take a public transport, we log in. So first interaction with our neighbors or the drivers, maybe shopkeeper if you used to buy milk every morning, or bakery or coffee assistant has been lost. The work environment is important to me. I'm more enthusiastic and efficient when I interact with people and feel valued. I was looking forward to Mondays to discuss my weekend with my colleagues or talk about the dramas I watched another day. I was looking forward to wearing my new outfit to work. Some of you might relate to this. All that has gone since we started working from home. No interaction at home means we are more efficient and productive from the work point of view, but what's happened to our health and well-being? Not sure about you, but I forgot what it's like to take short breaks from my laptop. So the morning afternoon coffee meetings is a 15 minutes break from work that I forgot what it's like since COVID started. It's a social event when we talked about anything but work. It's like one-to-one to invite a group. It allows us to meet other finance teams rather than my own and keep in touch on a regular basis. Uh, this is the time when we catch up on news, something that we used to talk about from 9 to 5. We talked about anything, like Sarah mentioned, holidays, home pets, movies, religion, holidays, and the topic list is endless. The coffee morning meetings allow us to introduce a new starter to other finance teams. It's an opportunity to learn about their personality, their hobbies and interests, and let them to know us. We used to work with someone who used to play a musical instrument during these catch-up meetings, and that was very special. Even having teams meetings back to back can make you feel lonely from time to time. Since this coffee meeting was introduced, it brought that feeling that I belong and I'm a part of wider team, and someone is looking forward to seeing me as a person and not a finance representative. Thank you. That's everything from me.
Thanks, Elena. The next slide Gary's going to go through.
Yeah, these are just a few views from the members of the finance department on these events. So just to summarise then, they enhance communication, definitely. It's a platform where we can all come together and support each other if needed, if anyone's got a problem, and it's a way of learning. It certainly helps with team bonding, and it's a way of sharing hobbies and interests and get to know each other better. That's the summary. Right. Can I pass you over now to Shireen, who's going to talk about a questionnaire that she conducted.
Thank you, Gary. Hi, everyone. My name is Shireen. And we recently conducted a survey on these coffee mornings and afternoon teas and had a great response and feedback. And we found out that the majority of the people in finance agreed that these catch-ups are very, very effective in building communication, where we discuss things apart from just discussing the work. It's a very informal chat. Like everybody mentioned, that we have lost that corridor chats, and these have been replaced by these coffee mornings and the afternoon catch-ups. And from the survey, these are just some of the snapshots that we've put on the slide here to give you an indication of what the staff thinks. And I'll tell you about these in more detail in the next slide. From the survey, we found out that most of the finance staff would like to have these meetings at least once a week, because we have 3 finance teams in the finance department, and we do have regular huddles within our teams where we discuss work. But apart from that unless you are actually calling somebody else, you don't get the chance to speak to other people in the other finance team. So having these coffee mornings and afternoon tea catch-ups, you get to speak to everybody in the finance teams and discuss everything. I feel personally that when you're talking to somebody at work, you see a very professional side of them, because you're always just discussing work and it's serious work. But when you attend these coffee mornings and these catch-ups, you see a different side to those people, especially when we shared staff holiday snaps and everything. That was very nice, because you see the person, their personal lives, what do they do, and that's nice. I think it shows you that everybody's a human and you're not here just to work. So I personally really like these. As the starter, when we conducted this survey, we gave them a few topics. It was a list of topics that they could choose from in terms of what they would like to discuss in the coffee mornings. And we found out that holiday and vacations, movies, cultural events, cultural and religious events, and hobbies and goals will be some of the most popular topics to be discussed. In there was also a section of others, if you've missed anything and people would like to suggest something new. That was also one of the options. And since then, since we've implemented this, we've seen more attendance in these sessions. That's been great. And staff also suggested not to organise these around very busy times like month-end, year-end, to encourage more attendance, which makes sense, as when you're very busy, you might not want to join these. But I personally think that even in the business times, it probably is a good idea to just have like that like Sarah said, you don't have to attend for 15 minutes. You can just come up for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to break from work, and then go back to, so you're not stressing yourself out as well too much, I guess. And as part of the questionnaire, we asked for suggestions from the people to how to encourage more attendance into these catch-ups. And we've had various responses, as you can see on the slide. It says a lot of people said that they would actually prefer face-to-face catch-ups. So this is something that we are going to look into and probably organise in the future to come into New Mill and have the meeting face-to-face instead. Or include quizzes, or just spontaneous conversations, and we can also discuss more topics as and when we go, basically, when we attend these coffee mornings. Lastly, we're also thinking to do these surveys after every 6 months. That's just to gauge if the staff views have changed, because they've attended these sessions for some time. Do they have more suggestions to give? Do they recommend more things that we implement, or change the times, change the date, or anything like this? So we will be including more surveys going forward, just to see how it goes. That is from my side.
Thanks, Shireen. Anybody got any questions? I am conscious of time.
Sarah has
Did you
her
want-
hand up.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Black Country ICB. I was just wondering how big your finance team is and how many people kind of regularly attend onto these sessions.
Our department's around 25 people, and it varies, obviously, depending on month end and people's work commitments. We tend to get on average 8 to 10 people at these sessions. Recently, we've had more attendees because we've focused on specific topics people are interested in. So the attendance is growing, and people are really keen on some of the topics from the survey. We're trying to focus more on what people's needs are and making them fit for purpose, really. Yeah, we give notice as well on the topic, so it gives people time to prepare and see and make time to attend.
Next up, we've got Steve.
Hi everyone, I'm Steve. I'm from East Sussex Healthcare down right on the south coast, Battle of Hastings place. Just a quick question. Well, I was going to ask the same question as the previous person was asking about the size of your teams, but I suppose you would keep it. So first question is you'd keep it amongst, we've got like 70 people in finance, but in different teams. So if you're thinking size wise, my personal team is 24, actually, not 25. So it probably is best supposed to try and keep it in a certain limit the size. Otherwise you'll end up having one of those forums, don't you, when you got about 50 people there, and it becomes less personal, I sort of feel. So that was my first sort of observation. The second one was, how do you keep people, anecdotally, from when you've done these, do you manage to keep people off of the work chat? Because in my mind, I almost feel people are going to turn up to sometimes and go, "Ugh, I've had a terrible morning," like that. And I like the fact you've put a rule in there: don't talk about work. You know, the moment you enter this room, you sort of just talk about, as you say, holidays, films. Have you found that easy to keep strictly to that rule? Don't, sound off about a stressy morning. To stick to the. How have you found keeping to the rules?
The rules have been quite straightforward, to be fair. People do stick to them, and when I'm on the calls, I do often take note of those that are working and remind them not to be working. Because again, it's been 100% present. It's pointless you turning up to these things if you're not going to be 100% present. It doesn't look good to your teammates that you're not really interested in what they have to say. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Going back to the number of people, because we do have a small finance team compared to yourself, the breakout team function on Teams is a good platform. So you can, even though you've got one big meeting, so we've done it before where the first 5 minutes we've all come together and had a bit of a chat, then we've gone out into the breakout rooms, and then people have mixed with people who we don't often speak to. So that's another platform and another option to explore.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
We've got a question from Dawn.
Hi, thanks everybody. I'm Dawn Murphy. I'm from Cheshire and Merseyside ICB. So we are nearly 200 staff. And I was previously at the Northern Care Alliance, which was, even though that's a trust, it was similar and across varying sites. And so I've done it in both. We've done it at the Northern Care Alliance and we hadn't done it at the ICB. And I joined this session a few weeks ago, but then ended up putting a coffee and catch up in last week on World Mental Health Day, because we'd had a couple of instances. We've had a team member who's passed away, a team member who's now terminally ill, and I felt that the team were really struggling. So I just put a coffee and catch up in because it was World Mental Health Day. We're not doing it as formal as yourselves, so I just wanted to share some of the things that we've done. We're keeping, there's no subject to it. There's definitely no work. There is definitely no work. And last week it was actually we just had a laugh. We talked about exercise. One team member kept walking around his house. We didn't know what he was doing, but we were all like, "Oh, we're all getting a nice view of Niall's house." So it was just like, those coffee and corridor catch-ups that you have. But you make a really good point about the number of people, because I was a bit like, oh my God, there's nearly 200 staff. If everybody joins this, it's not really going to be a kitchen catch-up, is it? Can you imagine 200 people in a kitchen all trying to have a catch-up whilst you're making a brew? So it's not really going to work, is it? So there was about 20 odd of them that joined. They've all said they thought it was really good. They really liked it. some people contributed, some people didn't, but everybody had the cameras on. Everybody was laughing, and we put it in every month now. We may end up bringing subject matters into it. I was watching that closely and thinking that might end up. We were just chatting about, you know, like what's on the. We're talking about Married at First Sight, you know, because that seems to be a bit like when Love Island's out, everybody talks about Love Island. So we were just doing it a little bit more like that, really. But it's absolutely crucial. I mean, one of the examples that when I was at Oldham, which is part of the Northern Care Alliance, I had a member of staff that was having a heart attack at home. And she spent all week with her left arm resting on her knee because it was hurting her. And by Saturday, she was in A&E, and she had 3 attacks while she was in hospital for 3 weeks. Had she have been in the office on the first day, somebody would have gone, "What's up with your arm, Joan? Left arm, let's just get up to A&E and have a look, get them to check you over." Fortunately, she's okay. She's back in work part-time, etc. But, you know, that could have been a lot worse. And I think a lot of people feel that working from home is really good. It isn't good for me. I suffer from depression. I'm quite open about that. I'm quite comfortable talking about it. I do CBT, I do all the things I need to do. But I noticed a few weeks ago my resilience had dropped. I was like, oh, why am I suddenly feeling like this? And I thought, okay. And then I suddenly thought, I've not been in the office in 3 weeks. I've not left this room. I've not seen my friends. I've got my family, my husband and my daughter, but they're here all the time. Do you know what I mean? So it was a bit like, oh gosh. So I made a point of going into the office. I made plans with my friends to go out that weekend. You know, all the things that I know from my CBT, what I need to do. But I've now made a pact with myself that every week I will look at my diary. And if I'm not scheduled to go into the office for any face-to-face meetings, I will still make the effort to go in at least once a week. And it's difficult in an ICB because you spread all over the place. So even if I go into our office, there might not be anybody there. But the trusts that I work with, they all go in 3 days a week, and they have a desk. So there's nothing wrong with me going in and sitting with the trusts, with the people that I work with on a regular basis. So that's some of the things. We've got an away day next week, and I'm going to share some of those with our team. But these things are really, really good because we have gone into a very different environment, and we've got to adapt to it. But we've got to wrap around and look after ourselves and our teams in the process. So keep doing these types of things, because that was a really good session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dawn. Thanks for your story, Dawn. One thing we did do, as I mentioned, about the scavenger hunt, we did this in the early stages of lockdown.
I like the sound of that. It sounds fun.
It makes people move. So we did some specific ones. So those that know me, I work in my little porch at home. And it was a case of find a big plate, find something red, and it were only like 6 items to find. And it's a bit fair, good bit of movement, because we all sit too long at the screens, engrossed in the spreadsheets, and we forget to have proper breaks. So yeah, that was really popular. And we did various activities.
Yeah, the Northern Care Alliance, we did one at Christmas as a bit of a Christmas fun thing, as you commented about, you know, you've lost that Christmas thing. So, and we did it on Teams. And so there was about 60 odd people in the end. So we put them into groups of, into little teams, into the breakout rooms. And it was, you need to go and build a snowman using anything that's in your house. You need to run outside and sing a Christmas carol in front of your house, but you've got to film yourself doing it. And it was the team that came back fastest with things as well. And do you know what? We had such good fun. We really did have such good fun with that. I think everybody, some people are a bit shy with things. I was like, oh, I'll run out and sing. I'll film myself. I'm not bothered. I bet my neighbours thought it was completely bonkers. But that's a good one at Christmas to do.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing it.
Any more questions? Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much for coming today and sharing what you've been up to. I think that all sounds amazing. And thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.